What's up guys? So today is just an update on my Cremtogaster. It's now been about a week and a half to a week since I got these, and I'm just really excited to update you on them. I've now got a few more workers and things are going really well. Without further ado, we'll get straight to the content. As always, peace and love. I'm out. As you can see, we've got a low watered test tube. It's probably good for a while, but that's hence the reason for the change. Now this is the nest I'm putting them in. It's the smallest version that high tech ants does. The temperature, I'm moving it to a small heat mat later on. I was hoping they'd move in during the time lapse, but they never. And when I attached the test tube to the end, unfortunately, it didn't quite fit flush, so or on it, sorry. So I had to then sellotape it round and let it obviously connect that way. But just had to make sure it was, escape proof. But regardless, they do end up moving in. But typically, it wasn't during the time lapse, nor was it when I was watching. It was actually when I went to sleep. I put them where they were going to be, sort of for the foreseeable future, on one of the shelves with my other terrariums. And I put the heater underneath the nest slightly, sort of one side to the left, which you will see. And the next day or the next morning, they'd moved in. So that was really good. Humidity was actually quite high, or a little bit higher than I wanted, but I did overwater it, being the first time I've watered the nest. And it does drop down, because I'm trying to keep it about 50 to 60%, which is recommended for this species. So I do end up dropping it down in the end to the, what it does suggest. This is where it was on the heat mat on one side, and eventually you see the the temperature is actually about 25 there, yeah, so 25. So it's recommended 21 to 26. So I just made sure I had about 25 to be safe, and obviously I attached a mini outworld with, again, tape to make sure it fit into that gap properly, and they couldn't get out, which was good. And I just put a drop of honey nectar in from the ant lady and a chopped up mealworm, which they absolutely loved. So I took this clip, reason being was, at the time I was going to do just a really short update, like a 2-minute one. I decided to just catch a little bit more footage, sort of week and a half later, as they started developing a little bit more. Great thing is obviously having them under that heat mat. It does spur on the brood and the eggs, to hatch and become new workers and close much quicker. So that's another reason I did it. I also realised that this species is so messy. As you can see in the nest, it's been maybe a few days now, but it's so messy, and they've just made an absolute mess of it. So yeah, I've realised this is actually a really messy species, to be honest. And this is the sort of a further look a week and a half later. As you can see, there's a newly closed worker there, which is really pale pigment there, just in front of the queen's head. And eventually that one actually moves on this sort of mini time lapse I made, and it does start, working. And the crazy thing is the first thing on its mind, it just starts tending to brood. Literally, it's just emerged into the world, and the first thing on its mind is caring for, its sisters. And I just found it absolutely crazy how quick it sort of came round and just starts helping them. And you will see that during this sort of macro footage, and it really did blow my mind. You can see there the other workers are sort of checking on it. They are a little bit panicked as well. And that yellow thing on the right side of the screen, I actually fed egg yolk to my Flavis, Niger and Cremtogaster, also my MYRMICA as well. So I fed it to all my colonies. And there's an update on my acorn ants, which will be coming sort of this week or hopefully next. And as of about today, recording the audio for this, it'll probably be like a week and a half by the time I drop this video. But I'm currently at 14 workers now from 6, so that was really cool. Obviously I've gained an extra worker, and as you can see here, there's an extra worker ready to get going. But there she goes. First steps in the world was straight to brood. And you can see the size difference on these, on these, from the sort of Nantics to the more new workers, we'll say. And just so you know as well, I added test tubes either side of the sort of mini extension, we'll call it. One with water and one where I can put in things like, you know, mealworms, crickets chopped up, or maybe as a cotton ball with some sugar on, but that's what I've done. And now is my moment to sort of remind you to smash that like button if you are liking the video. But I will be updating these every 2-3 weeks. You'll be watching the development, and then hopefully obviously the move into the new nest or you know, natural setup. I've already got a lot of ideas in my head for these on how I can incorporate, you know, their natural environment, what they prefer, which is cork. So I'll be making sure that, you know, whatever I build is catered to these ants. But as always from me, guys, peace and love. I'm out.